encode media content into the Windows Media format, a tightly compressed format that requires a minimal amount of storage space on the computer's hard disk when compared to many other media formats. 29. Windows Media Player 7. The new version of the Windows Multimedia Player software introduces jukebox functionality featuring the media library, support for CD burning, an integrated media encoder, and the ability to transfer music directly to portable devices. Another new feature is its radio tuner that can be used to search for and connect to radio stations over the internet. Users can also customize the look and feel of the user interface through interactive skins. 30. Windows Me can be upgraded to Windows Media Player 9 series, which was later included in Windows XP SP2. Windows DVD Player. The software DVD player in Windows Me is a redesigned version of the one featured in Windows 98 which, unlike its predecessor, does not require a dedicated decoder card for DVD playback. Instead, it supports software decoding through a third-party decoder. 31. Networking technologies. Netcrawler. Windows Me introduced a net crawling feature, 32, which automatically searches out and creates shortcuts to network shares and printers in My Network Places. This can be controlled using the automatically search for network folders and printers option. Shortcuts that are added by the net crawler but not detected again on the network in a reasonable time period are aged out and deleted. New TCP/IP stack. Windows Me includes the Windows 2000 networking stack and architecture. 33. The Home Networking Wizard is designed to help users to set up a computer that is running Windows Me for us on a small home network. This includes setting up Internet Connection Sharing, ICS, on a computer. Running Windows Me so the computer can share a connection to the Internet with other computers on the Home Me network. Dial-up networking component was updated in Windows Me and provides several enhancements while maintaining the desired features of prior releases of the operating system. The user interface had been reworked to provide all configurable parameters in one convenient location. The user interface now included 3 new tabs: Networking, Security and Dialing. To improve dial-up networking, Windows Me includes built-in support for the Connection Manager dial-up client. Using the Connection Manager Administration Kit, an optional networking component in Windows 2000 Server, network administrators can pre-configure and deploy dial-up networking connections, by means of a Connection Manager service profile, to Windows Me based client machines. Network Driver Interface Specification, DIS, version 5.0 for Windows Me was enhanced to provide a programming interface parity with DIS version 5.0 in Windows 2000. This means that the programming interfaces that the author of a network device driver uses are the same for both of these Windows platforms. Universal Plug and Play. Windows Me introduced support for Universal Plug and Play, UPnP. Universal Plug and Play and NAT Traversal APIs can also be installed on Windows 98 and Windows 98 SE by installing the Windows XP Network Setup Wizard. 34. System Utilities. System Restore. Windows Me introduced the System Restore logging and reversion system, which were meant to simplify troubleshooting and solve problems. It was intended to work as a rollback and recovery feature so that if the installation of an application or a driver adversely affected the system, the user could undo the installation and return the system to a previously working state. It does this by monitoring changes to Windows system files and the registry. System Restore protects only the operating system files, not documents, and therefore is not a substitute for a backup program. System File Protection, first introduced with Windows 2000, as Windows File Protection, and expanding on the capabilities introduced with System File Checker in Windows 98. System File Protection aimed to protect system files from modification and corruption silently and automatically. When the file protection is in effect, replacing or deleting a system file causes Windows Me to silently restore the original copy. The original is taken from a hard drive backup folder, %windir%options/install, or from the Windows Me installation CD, if cached copy of files on the hard disk has been deleted. If no installation CD is in the drive, a dialog box alerts the user about the problem and requests that the CD be inserted. System file protection is a different technology from System Restore and should not be confused with the latter. System Restore maintains a broad set of changed files including added applications and user configuration data stored repeatedly at specific points in time restored by the user, whereas System File Protection protects operating system files with no user input. System Configuration Utility allows users to manually extract and restore individual system files from the Windows Me setup files. It has also been updated with 3 new tabs called Static VXDS, Environment and International. The Static VXDS tab allows users to enable or disable static virtual device drivers to be loaded at startup. The Environment tab allows users to enable or disable environment variables, and the International tab allows users to set international language keyboard layout settings that were formerly set via the real modem's DOS configuration files. A Cleanup button on the Startup tab allows cleaning up invalid or deleted startup entries. System Monitor has been updated with a dial-up adapter section. Users can now monitor items such as connection speeds, bytes received or transmitted /second. ScanDisk runs from within Windows upon an improper shutdown before the Windows shell loads. Automatic updates. The Automatic Updates utility automatically downloads and installs critical updates from the Windows Update website with little user interaction. It is set up to check Windows Update once every 24 hours by default. Users can choose to download which update they want, although high-priority updates must be downloaded and installed. Compressed folders. Windows Me includes native support for zip files through the Compressed Folders Explorer extension. This extension was originally introduced in the Plus 98 collection for Windows 98, but is included in the base operating system in Windows Me. A new help and support program has also been added, replacing the HTML help-based documentation in Windows 2000 and Windows 98. The Help and Support Center is entirely HTML-based and takes advantage of a technology called Support Automation Framework, SAF. That can show support information from the Internet, allows collecting data for troubleshooting via WMI and scripting, and for third parties to plug into Windows Help and Support. 35. Several other support tools also shipped with Windows Me. 36. Windows Me also includes Internet Explorer 5.5, which supports a new print preview feature. 37. It also shipped with the MSN Messenger service. Accessibility features. On-screen keyboard, originally introduced with Windows 2000, on-screen keyboard makes it possible to input characters using the mouse instead of the keyboard. The mouse control panel incorporates IntelliPoint features, namely click lock, selecting or dragging without continuously holding down the mouse button, hiding the pointer while typing, and showing it by pressing Ctrl. The cursor, System Caret, can be set to a thicker width. Increased active accessibility support in utilities such as Calculator and Magnifier. Removed features. Real Mode DOS. Windows Me restricted support for Real Mode MS-DOS. As a result, io.system in Windows Me disregards config.systemcommand.com and win.com and directly executes vmm32.vxd. In its default configuration, the system would neither boot into an MS-DOS command prompt nor exit to DOS from Windows. Real mode drivers such as ANSI.system could not be loaded and older applications that require real mode could not be run. Microsoft argued that the change improved the speed and reliability of the boot process. 8.19 In Windows Me, the config.system and autoexec.bat files are used only to set global environment variables. The two files, if present, are scanned for settings relating to the environment variables, and any other commands present are moved into a Windows registry key, see below. The two files thus contain only settings and preferences which configure the global environment for the computer during the boot phase or when starting a new virtual DOS machine, VDM. To specify or edit other startup values, which, in Windows 98, would be present in the autoexec.bat file. The user must edit following Windows registry key _local _machine /system /current control set /control /session manager /environment for troubleshooting and crash recovery, both the Windows Me CD-ROM and the Windows Me startup disk, a user-creatable floppy disk, known as the emergency boot disk. EBD, allowed booting into real mode MS-DOS. It is possible to restore real mode DOS functionality through various unofficial means. 38.39 Additionally, a registry setting exists that re-enables the restart in MS-DOS mode option in the shutdown dialog box. However, unless patched unofficially with third-party software, Windows Me cannot be booted to MS-DOS real mode. 40 Other components. Unlike previous versions of Windows 9X, Windows Me was entirely aimed at home users, and thus had certain enterprise-oriented features removed. Several features of its predecessors did not work or were officially unsupported by Microsoft on Windows Me, including automated installation, 41, Active Directory client services, 42, System Policy Editor, 43, Personal Web Server and ASP. These features were supported on its predecessors, Windows 98 and Windows 95. 44, a resource KI publication, targeted towards system administrators, was never published for Windows Me. Other features that were removed or never updated to work with Windows Me included Microsoft Fax, 45, Quick View and Drive Space, as well as the GUI FAT32 conversion tool. 46. Several Windows Explorer commands were also modified in Windows Me, matching the menu structure in Windows 2000. While some were simply moved to a different location, certain functionality of the Go menu, as well as the Find command on the Tools menu, are no longer available. For the latter change, Microsoft recommends using a variety of similar functionality labeled Search. 47. Windows Me, like Windows 98 2nd edition, did not ship with the Wing API or Real Player 4.0, unlike the original release of Windows 98, due to both of these having been superseded by DirectX and Windows Media Player, respectively. Upgradability. Windows Me could have its components upgraded or have new components installed up to the latest versions Internet Explorer 6 SP1 and Outlook Express 6 SP1. Windows Media Format Runtime and Windows Media Player 9 series, including Windows Media Encoder 7.1 and the Windows Media 8 decoding utility. MSN Messenger 7.0. Windows Installer 2.0. DirectX 9.0c, the latest compatible runtime is from October 2007. 48. Microsoft.NET Framework up to and including version 2.0, 2.0 SP1 and higher versions are not supported. Microsoft Visual C++ 2005 Runtime. Text Services Framework. Several other components such as MS XML 3.0 SP7, Microsoft Agent 2.0, NetMeeting 3.01, MSAA 2.0 ActiveSync 3.8, WSH 5.6, Microsoft Data Access Components 2.81 SP1, WMI 1.5 and Speech API 4.0. Office XP was the last version of Microsoft Office to be compatible with Windows ME. 49. The Microsoft layer for Unicode can be installed to allow certain Unicode applications to run on the operating system. System requirements. System requirements for running Windows ME. 50. Minimum recommended x86 CPU Pentium, 150 ms Pentium 2. 300 ms memory, 32 MB 64 MB free space, 320 MB 2 Mediac or DVD drive, 3.5-inch floppy drive, display VGA SVGA, video capture device for Windows Movie Maker, sound hardware sound card, speakers or headphones. Microphone for Windows Movie Maker network NUN 56.6 kbps modem or faster with current internet connection input device, mouse or compatible pointing device. The /NM setup switch can be used at the DOS command line to bypass the minimum system requirement checks, allowing for installation on a CPU as low as the 16 MHz 80486SX. Limitations. Windows ME is only designed to handle up to 512 MB of RAM without changes. 51. Systems with larger RAM pools may lose stability. However, depending on the hardware and software configuration, it is sometimes possible to manually tweak the installation to continue working with somewhat larger amounts of RAM as well. 51. 52. The maximum amount of memory the operating system is designed to use is up to 1 GB of RAM. Systems with more than 1.5 GB of RAM may continuously reboot during startup. 53. In addition, until the release of Windows XP with Service Pack 1 in 2002, all versions of Windows were unable to handle hard drives that are over 137 GB in size with the default drivers, due to the operating system lacking support for 48-bit logical block addressing at API disk drives. 54. Support life cycle. Compared with other releases of Windows, Windows ME had a short shelf life of just over a year. Windows 2000 and Windows ME were eventually succeeded by newer Microsoft operating systems, Windows ME by Windows XP Home Edition, and Windows 2000 Professional by Windows XP Professional. Windows XP is noteworthy that the first preview build of Windows XP, then codenamed Whistler, was released to developers on the 13th of July, 2000, 2 months before Windows ME's general availability date. 55. Microsoft originally planned to end support for Windows ME on the 31st of December, 2004. 56. However, in order to give customers more time to migrate to newer Windows versions, particularly in developing or emerging markets, Microsoft decided to extend support until the 11th of July, 2006. 57. Microsoft ended support for Windows ME and Windows 98 on this date because the company considered the operating system to be obsolete and prone to security risks, and recommended customers to upgrade to a version of Windows such as Windows XP for the latest security improvements. 58. Retail availability for Windows ME ended on the 31st of December, 2003. 59. The operating system is no longer available from Microsoft in any form, through MSDN or otherwise, due to the terms of Java-related settlements Microsoft made with Sun Microsystems. 60. The Windows Update website continued to be available after Windows MI's end of support date. However, during 2011 Microsoft retired the Windows Update v4 website and removed the updates for Windows ME from its servers.